Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am here as always with a few co-hosts. We have Digger Jim.
Hey,
Hello tonight, Jim, and we have Lady Fantastic.
What's up?
Not much. Nice to have you both here. And guys, this is
Thanks.
the show where we have a guest on and we interview them, ask them some hard hitting questions like where they bury the bodies. Do they do it outside or are they basement barriers? You don't know until you ask, right? So we're going to get to these hard hitting questions. And of course, our guest of the hour this evening, you've seen her on the 1011 and she had a great episode. We have Candice Barbosa. Good evening, Candice.
Hi. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Great. How are you?
good.
Great.
Thanks for coming on the channel again. Always nice to have you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And we'll get to asking questions here in a second. But first, let's say hi to the people in the chat. We have Las Cruces, of course. Good evening, sir. Trev, how you doing, buddy? Jerry, always good to see you, sir. Chop and Drop, good evening. I think I saw. Oh, of course, we have Caroline in there. Switch Comics is in there. Pat Barbosa, your mom's in there.
Yeah.
Nice. Good evening, Marco. And Silver Knight Kyle. Good evening, Kyle. So the chat is filling up. But we'll as we do, we'll ease into this. But before we do, Candice, give a brief introduction of yourself to anybody watching this live and on the rewind.
Sure. So, hi everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Candice. I'm primarily on Instagram right now as Candice Barbosa under here. And I pretty much post like pop culture and comics, reviewing things, showing like just my favorite comics in general, and a lot of my like nerd outfits and stuff like this. This
Right
big
on.
one.
Right on.
Yeah, you'll notice if you go through my Instagram, I'm a huge Disney and Archie fan. Those things are very apparent.
Charmed.
Charmed, yes, charmed. That is definitely an understatement also. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago. I've been reading comics ever since I was very young, but I joined the comic community in about, I think, summer of 2020. And then I started doing a lot more like YouTube related things. All my lovely friends in the community who have had me guest starring, including Gary, have having me on their shows has been really fun. I've been doing a lot of that in the last year. I've been on Shy Comic Girls YouTube, who's like my comic best friend that I've met through the community, who's also from Chicago, and we do a lot of like videos together. You'll see me doing like Lego building on No Good Comics channel.
Right on.
Yeah, just like a lot of really fun things I've got to do within the last year on the community. So it's a little bit about me.
Nice. Well, I want to start out with a nostalgia question because nostalgia has a lot to do with what you collect and how you collect. So, what do you think it is about nostalgia that appeals to us as people so much? And is it important? And why is it important? We already know it's pricey. Nostalgia costs a lot of money. But why do you think it's important to us as collectors? What role do you think it plays?
Sure. Yeah. In general, I'm a very nostalgic person, so I definitely know a lot about that. Yeah, I think first, nostalgia comes from, of course, like trying to get the same enjoyment that we had when we were kids from the things that we loved when we were kids, or a lot of us are trying to basically buy back our childhood or get things that we maybe never got in our childhood,
Right.
just because now we're adults and make it with jobs and can afford those habits. So that's like part of it. Yeah, and it was just, I'm a 90s kid, and that was just like every time I think about it, was such a simpler time. And like it had a lot of the best, like I had so many things, like the toys were amazing in the 90s, and I didn't have as much comic related memories with nostalgia, but yeah, definitely a lot of the TV shows and toys and everything like that. It has a really special place in my heart. What were the other questions about it?
Well, we all collect for nostalgia, but you answered it. It's like, why do you think it's important? And it is. It reconnects us to our childhood, and there's a really good feeling, and it's kind of like a euphoria when you buy
Yes.
something for yourself that you wanted as a kid and you couldn't get when you were a child.
Right.
And you know, we all have the things here, right? You have shelves of them behind you. We all have them, and it's just you're like, wow, finally, all these years. It's like it's weird because it never leaves you, right? It's something you think about until you're able to get it. So it's kind
Yeah,
of like a
exactly.
future goal set too.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's a really fun thing to also just like relate with people, especially like in the community. Not only just like do we all have like comics in common, but then we all have different things that we grew up with, or maybe like we might be like some things I can relate because I know it from my parents and they showed me things that were very nostalgic and important to them and they passed that down. And those are the things that some of those things are actually like some of my favorite things. So that's really cool, like generation wise, how that also can go into play with things of nostalgia.
nice. Now, before we get into some comic questions, I had some questions about your page, right?
Okay.
So your blog spot. You're big into subscription boxes. You do a lot of reviews on subscription boxes. You cover things like all over the place, right? Like socks and books, nostalgia boxes, beauty boxes, comics, gaming. You have a
Yeah.
wide variety of tastes. What got you into subscription boxes, and you know, what's the best thing you've gotten out of one?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I feel like it's been like the last maybe 10 years where subscription boxes like really became a thing.
Mhm.
Um which I mean, I feel like in general, like we all love getting things in the mail.
Right.
Right,
And it's really fun being
fun
able to
things, not
yes,
just bills as an adult.
yes, fun
Right.
things. Just like fun packages. And what's really fun about subscription boxes is like as you've seen like on there, I had such a different like array of things because of I was able to find subscriptions for so many of my interests. So I've been able to like try a lot of things. Some of the ones I started like earlier, let's see. I think my first nerdy one was Loot Crate. I was subscribed to that for a couple years. That's how I got my first Funko Pop. Let's see. I did one that was for like makeup where you could like try out like they would give you like sample size ones and you could try things out. Then what was also fun was being able to find subscriptions that were to like fandoms I like. So Charmed had one at one point, which was really cool because Charmed they never have merchandise like as available as some other fandoms for sure. So that one was really fun and I would get that like every couple months. But unfortunately, it was only for a couple of years because I think the company that they were working with lost the licensing, so that was unfortunate.
Wow.
But
Did you get some cool autographed charm things in there?
I'm trying to think if anything was autographed. They had like a couple exclusive things. They had like T-shirts. They had some like photos. They had like these like acrylic characters that were like illustrated versions of all the characters. And then like what's fun about usually subscription boxes is there'd be like each month is usually like a theme.
Yeah.
Um, so I've also done ones that were for like books. So usually like then the box will be related to like a certain genre or something like that. Comics, I've also done subscriptions for comics, which is really interesting because I feel like subscription boxes can also be a hit or miss.
Right.
As like from what I've seen, like there's some that they're like spot on every time, and then there's some that's like, okay, I feel like I'm not getting exactly what I want, or it's getting like there's a lot of the same thing. That's when you know like to just cut it, and you're like, no, I'm not doing this
Right. Oh,
anymore.
I bought fifty
It's not
dollars of
worth
stuff
it
I
to
don't
pay.
want.
Right.
Yeah. So like I've done ones for comics, ones where like they would give like one issue and then they would give like some like nerdy things with it, which was fun. Because you weren't just getting like comics, but then I'd also get ones that were like not like maybe I don't know a couple issues of comics and then maybe like a trade, but it would be at random, so that'd be a hit or miss. But then it would be kind of nice to like discover new comics that way. But
Mm.
then it was also like some things weren't my thing, so then I ended up not like reading that right away or not. I probably have still some I haven't gotten to
Oh yeah.
from that. But yeah, like from all those different ones, it's a fun thing to do. They can add up after a while, so I definitely have like cut off a lot of them by now. I think
Sure.
I only do like a Harry Potter one, Loot Crate. Otherwise, yeah, that's like one of my favorite though. Also was Funko a while back did one with Disney that was called what was it? Funko Disney Treasures, which they had a lot of exclusive Funkos through that. And that was like you get actually like big pops, you get patches, pins, all the like other Funko products. That was really fun. And then they ended up cutting that subscription, and then they ended up like going through Hot Topic to do the rest of the boxes, but they weren't as good. But I think that was one of my favorites. That one, the Charmed one, was one of my favorites. I don't know. It's just been really fun to try them out because there's like so many that you can. Actually, I did get one that was called Nostalgia Crate once. That was really fun because you could. This one was a little bit more curated because you could pick like your interests. So I remember, I'm trying to think what I think I did one that was like toy related. So it would like pick different like like certain generations of toys, and that was cool because it'd be totally random. So that was kind of like if you were like going to a flea market and things you would find. I did one that was for trading cards too, which was kind of a random one, but that was also through the Nostalgia Crate. So I've really done them all, and I haven't thought about this of how many I've really done, but yeah, like I highly recommend like looking into it. Like you'll literally find like a subscription for pretty much everything. I know they've done ones with Marvel and DC as well. Right. They have like mix of like comics, t-shirts, and things. So yeah, there's really like there's so many out there. It's a fun thing.
Oh yeah.
Can I ask how large your comic collection is?
Yeah. Oh man, the only reason I kind of even know is because I try to keep track of it on what is it called? It's called like Collectors CLZ.
Yeah.
Because I would never know. I recently like got it on my phone to actually be able to like scan things and stuff, but probably issues. It's probably like, and maybe some of the trades, because I don't think all the trades are cataloged in there. It has to be a couple, like at least a few thousand ones, because I'm sure that's nothing compared to some people. But I've been collecting. Like I have a handful that was from my childhood, but then I got into comics maybe like 20. Like I got reintroduced into it. I think when I was in college in like 2013 or 14. So it's been a lot of that, and like. Besides going to comic shops and then finding like other places I could get them like cheaper, like going to like a half price bookstore or like flea markets, like So I definitely have half of my collection is probably at least like things I've got even under value, which is really nice. Because there's nothing like at least I comfort myself going, okay, at least you didn't spend full price on things. But it's been really crazy watching my collection grow over the years, especially since joining the community. It really spiked.
Right. Are you the type that maintains quality control in terms of book condition, or is that something that you're willing to fudge on depending on the book?
I think like if I have a choice, like when I will try to get something like near mint if I can. Especially like when I'm able to like order things online, like you have more control of that. In the shops, I'm definitely someone that's like taking them off the rack and going, is this one better than the other? As far as like once I have them, I mean I board and bag everything except like I don't board most trades or anything.
Yeah.
But and then I maybe change the bags I use, like the pretty standard, what are those called?
Oh, the BCWs?
Yes, the BCWs I use, or just usually what I can find. And then I'll just change them out as they get crappy. Or like if I start to damage them because of tape or I don't know. But so I don't like change out the bags or anything every so often, but I do care about quality if I can. But if I find like a good deal where something is like, I don't know if I'll be able to find it at a good condition without having to throw down a lot of money, then like I don't care. Like because I ultimately like as long as I can read it without it ruining my reading experience, like I'm fine with that also, depending what it is.
I have I kind of am one of the low grade is better than no grades. Now I have a question. So I'm going really like sensory here. I'm going maybe a little Seinfeld, maybe a little petty here, but do you have any pet peeves when you go into a comic shop? Are there any like pet peeves for you, like if people get too close, or are there certain things you can't stand to see, like in the way a book is packaged, or if somebody stashes books in a different place? Any pet peeves
Yeah, that's a good question.
in the social forum that is the comic shop?
Yeah, that's a
I
really
see
good
her
question.
going in like a diva, right? She
Yeah.
wants to open the door. Don't you know who I am? You know what I'm looking for. You better have those bins ready.
Where's my books?
It's
Yeah,
cooking, Candace.
yeah, okay, the first thing I could think of is probably like it's always hard when you have like you want to look through all of the like the back issues bins, and of course
Right.
of course there always has to be someone that's right next to you where you want, and of course like then I'm like, okay, I gotta either you're right on the one that I'm looking for, so I'll be like, of course, like be like, okay, I'm gonna look next to you, whatever, and then but then they keep moving with you, so you have to keep moving
And
your
you're like,
stack
"Fuck!"
as you go down.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
it. It's a weird thing.
Another thing is, it hurts when a lot of like even if they're like 25 cents or whatever, and they're not bagged and boarded in those back issues, and I'm like, I very likely will not even bother looking through them, just because I'm like, these likely are not going to even they're going to be really damaged, and I just
Right.
like it's not worth it
Right.
for me.
I don't care if it's in a crappy bag and board. At least it's protected somewhere,
Exactly,
and I can.
exactly.
I'm going to put a new bag and board on it regardless. But
Okay, and this one it's not in like a physical comic shop, but online I actually have a pet peeve with so like I mentioned, I love Archie comics, but that actually when it's very rare that I'll order from them because they actually arrive without boards and bags, which
Yes.
I don't understand because it's Archie comics, and what's really great about them is they'll have like really discounted stuff, which I've been able to like get my collection over the years with, or I mean sometimes they're great about like if something's damaged that they'll like actually send you a new one and you can keep the other one or whatever, so I like
Right.
gift it to somebody, but otherwise it just hurts. I'm like, what? You guys are such a big like a publisher, like why don't you board a bag?
right,
I heard it from even like friends and stuff that I'm like, don't get it from Archie, don't get it from there, and then they get it and they're like, oh yeah, it came all damaged, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't do it.
Do you have a standard LCS, or are there like some that you hit up in the area?
Okay, so I have one. Well, okay, we have a couple. It depends on the day. So in general, Chicago has so many comic shops.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kinda jealous.
Yeah, my personal favorites are further into the city. I'm like kind of a little further away from the city, so it's definitely like a trek or to get there. So, but those are usually my favorite ones to go support, and like a lot of them, like especially like since joining the community, I've got to even like know some of like the people that work there and things. But it's just not always like able to do that. So especially like during the the beginning of the pandemic, like I wasn't going in as much. So probably my primary place to order comics would be literally my comic shop, that one.
Right.
And is my comic shop, just because like I love how they just even package everything. Like, yeah, you got to pay for that extra shipping, which is annoying in case like instead of me like going into my shop, but like they package it so well and give me the condition that I want most often. So like I'm fine with that. If I do that,
customer service is there.
Yeah, otherwise, I do have one that's like really, really close, like a couple blocks away from my place, that I like to go into, just to support. It's a very small shop, but the owner is really nice, and he has a really good selection of back issues. He doesn't have as many of the newer ones, which is like different when I'm going into like the ones in the city. But yeah, it's just we have so many great shops out here. It's really I just love being able to support them all and see how different they all are and discovering new ones because they're just everywhere in Chicago.
Now, as a big Archie fan, I got to ask you who your favorite Archie character is, and Betty or Veronica.
Okay, let's see. I mean, I feel like they're both going to be like related, but I feel like my favorite has always been Betty. Which
I
then
knew I had you on for a reason.
I don't know. I think because like she was like so relatable to me. As like
Oh wait, no, I'm a Veronica guy. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have such like a mixed feeling with Veronica. Like I've watched some of like Riverdale and stuff. And I've liked that version of Veronica a lot more than like the actual comic one. But I think like growing up in general, I just liked the Betty and the Veronica comics the best, just because it was like I was able to relate to that, and just seeing like these other female characters that weren't like superheroes and things like that. That was just very like ordinary, especially Betty, because she's just like she's literally like the girl next door type person, someone that I would relate to and feel like I'd actually want to be like friends with and things. So that was always why I liked her a lot. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
And you said your gateway into Archie was the digest, right?
Yes. Yeah, so anyone who hasn't heard this story, yeah, my mom was a big Archie fan growing up like herself, and she like read a lot of the comics and watched some of the animated series and things like that. And I think I was maybe like, I don't know, now I don't even know. It's probably between like 8 and 10 years old. I don't know. Enough that I knew I was like I could read like chapter books and things. But like yeah, so she got me the digest from I think Kmart, and like they would have them in like the checkout area, and she brought them home for me, and she was like, oh yeah, this was something like I read when I was a kid, so like I think you'll like them. You should try them. And I was okay. And I ended up loving them, of course, as we could see. Because I kept up with them for like a while, where that was like the main thing I was reading. Because then I don't even think at that point I had ever even been to like an actual like comic shop at that point, because I was so young, and I don't remember us like going to any. So that was like my main source of like comics. But it got me into like other parts of Archie too, because I know they had like Archie's Weird Mysteries I'd watch like on Saturdays.
That was a fun cartoon.
Which is a really fun one, which they have comics related to that as well. But it's for anyone that doesn't know, it's like very like a sci-fi kind of thing with Archie, where he like solves mysteries. Very like Scooby-Doo kind of.
Sure.
But it's yeah, and then like that was just my main thing, because I started reading some other stuff around that time, like I had like the Charmed comics and some like Casper and Wendy and things like that. But Archie was like the thing that was like the most consistent. And then when I wasn't reading comics, like I wasn't really reading anything at the moment. Like there was like a period of my life that was like probably like like when I was a teenager, I didn't read comics at all. And then once I like, oh, she thinks I was 8. Okay. Yeah, when I finally like reconnected with comics, like going really hard into it, that was like one of the first things I picked up was like, I got to go get more of those Archie comics. They're still making them. Right. So, and now like they make so many different ones that it's like, they still are able to like keep up with the times, which is really cool.
Right. Archie, like the horror series, plus you had all those spin-offs, which were like 5-6 different titles. Kathy Keener, just all these different ones. Now I like there's different formats I like as a comic collector, right? Like I love the old magazine format, but I've always loved the digest format too that Archie did. There's something so nice about that format. It's so readable, it's so enjoyable, and too bad they didn't make little bags that fit those specifically.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And back then I definitely cared. I mean, I think mine are still in decent condition. But I feel like back then I didn't like board things unless it like came in it. So definitely now I'm more like, oh my god, I have to have all of them look nice. But yeah, it's like been like a fun thing to collect through the years. That like talking about nostalgia, that was like one of the things that ended up being so nostalgic for me, is starting to read that as a kid and then bringing that into adulthood. Right. Really cool.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like being on Gary's show, because I've never interacted with you, I don't know a lot about you, but I can see right away you have a vibrant personality. But I want to learn about not so much the comic end. What is all that behind you? I want to, just educate me on some of what
Of
those
course,
figures are,
of
because
course.
that's pop culture. And my son probably knows every single one of them, and I wouldn't know anything about them.
Yeah, so today we're actually debuting the background.
Oh,
thank you.
all right. Nice.
And the shirt is rad for sure.
Thank you.
If
Yes.
you don't love the Muppets, you're crazy.
Which I love the Muppets comics too. Those are really fun. Yeah. So recently, me and my boyfriend, he built this we needed more storage, just because like he's a collector too of many different things. Half of this is his, half of this is mine.
Right.
Probably most of the top half is what you can see that is his. But basically, collaboratively, we both collect designer toys. I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but
define it. I need you to define it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for anyone that doesn't know. So
yeah.
Let's see. So it's kind of like I wouldn't classify like Funko as a designer toy. It's kind of where toy and like art sculpture kind of meet. Because a lot of the ones we have are either ceramic or vinyl, and they'll be considered toys. Yes. You are spot on. Roto Fuji in Chicago. If anyone is ever there, it's like one of the best places to get designer toys. Really cool store. But a lot of we collect a lot of ones that are artists, maybe artists that do drawing, have different paintings, illustrations. They will a lot of times make their own toys. So like there's some big names that are
right.
Yeah, that's kind of like a one. There's ones like Tara McPherson that she'll do. Let me see if behind my head.
Does Julie Bell do any of that shit?
Julie Bell. That
Who's
one's
like
not
a
familiar
Rosetta?
to me, but there's so many.
Julie
people,
Bell
like,
would be great.
So over here we have the Tara McPhersons. Let me see if I can grab one without knocking things. This
is more cartoony and anime.
So okay, this is a.
Nice.
Let me see if it focuses well.
Yeah, I see.
So this is a Tara McPherson, which is very cool of how it merges with the art collecting as well as DC. So this is like her style and color palette that she uses on like everything. Speaking of Roto Fuji, she's actually like had a lot of her toys there, and we've been able to like meet her and have her sign a lot of her pieces. But she's like a big one that we will collect. And a lot of these, they kind of, majority of them will be higher end. So right. I pretty much will do like a lot of the smaller vinyls that are like mini figures, blind boxes that are done by a lot of like different types of companies. But my boyfriend likes to collect a lot of these ones that are done by local artists. Sure. One of them, let me see if I can show you up. Okay, so the little guy with the glasses up there is Flyboy by Hebrew Brantley. Fun fact, those two, the one that's up, both of them that are down there, that's my boyfriend.
I'll say, I was just gonna say too, don't get yourself in trouble by knocking over any of his stuff while you're showing us.
Yeah, he actually does have gloves for certain things. Like some of it is no joke. But the one with the goggles up there is known as Flyboy. Right. And on. What was funny was we were watching Black Panther, the newest one, and they actually had these designer toys on what was it, Riri's desk, where it was like really quick, but I saw it and I hit my board. I was like, oh my God, look. And so that was just a really cool thing because she is from Chicago. And it was funny because he's a local Chicago artist that does. I mean, he's blown up a lot more now, but he's started in Chicago. But yeah, that's like some of the things. We go to a lot of like gallery events where they have these toys. It's both of us are creative people. We're both graphic designers. So that's kind of where our creativity and our like love of collecting and stuff like that merge, which is really fun. So that's why, like, yeah, all of this whole cabinet, like, it's pretty much a whole thing of our toys and the art figures and things like that. It's really fun.
You guys obviously don't have cats though, right? Because that would be
no.
rough.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no animals involved there, Gary, because they'd be like batted all over the place.
No, like at the moment we're not even able to have certain pets in our apartment anyway. But that's one thing that we're like, okay, we kind of need to have like extra rooms if we're gonna ever have a pet, for sure. Because a lot of it is like. It would be a lot of money down the tube if things were like falling over and stuff.
I just wondered if they were like from a specific manga or something, so that's why I asked about it. But no, that's I get it.
A lot of them are actually originals, which is really cool. I mean, sometimes these artists will do collabs, like the one I showed is like with DC, but most of them are just original characters, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm always down for supporting the local artists in the area. And just ones in the community. I got a piece. There's a guy, Shadow Rabbit Clay, and he does a lot of clay work. And he was at Baltimore Comic-Con, and I got a piece off of him because I'm like, you know what? You got it. I mean, this is how they make a living, and it was beautiful. I loved it. So if you see something that moves you, that's what you should get. I just was curious about it because I thought maybe I was out of the loop on some of the, what that was. So.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, I feel like it's like a whole other thing. Like, there's even like a whole community that is designer toys that my boyfriend is part of. And
some of the details on them are just so intricate and amazing.
Yeah.
I have a pin collection because there's a whole subgenre for pin collecting.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I've gone down that road too with just like regular pop culture pins, and I've done some of the Disney ones, which is a whole other thing too.
Hold on, let me go grab my little thing.
Yes.
I've only been to Chicago. I've only been to Chicago a handful of times, and it was we were in Rosemont. Rosemont, and it was for my son doesn't care much about comics, but from the time he was 4, he was pretty much deep in Godzilla. I mean, and they actually have their own con for 3 days at a hotel in Rosemont. So we spent like at 3 different periods in his life, we went back to that con. So I love Chicago. I think it's great. But
we have. I've been to definitely a lot of conventions that are have been there. Some of them are like fun because they're like $5 to get in, but then there's like we have a lot of the bigger ones over in Rosemont also, like well, now it's not Wizard World anymore, but yeah, we would have those. So really fun area.
Yeah, that's about my extent of Chicago there.
We'll make it big for a second here, Caroline.
So I'll show you. This is
Man, you're not kidding.
idle, unreliable, and superficially clever. That's a line from I think Greg Gatsby, something like that. Fuck you with the blue shell. Nope, with a cat facing you.
I love them.
Yeah. Cyclops with his eyes going out. The cat that's called a pineapper. We've got the troker. We've got Daria and Jane, Yoshi, Trippy Yoshi. Got Stormtrooper going to work. The huge dude. And then
That's so fun.
Jerry's asking if you collect Disney pins.
No. I collect these ones. So, here's a lot of the collector core.
Love it.
Oh, from the boxes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, here's what. Oh, God, undo. Xavier School for Gifted Youngster.
Nice.
That's so fun.
They really should have did a Far Side joke with that one, too, when the student pushing on the pole door.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Candice, keeping with toys, when you finally were able to start buying your own, what were some of the first 90s toys that you went back to get yourself that you had to have?
Oh man, that is hard. Trying to think back. Because I collected a lot when I was a kid too, so I'm trying to remember what I know, because I know I've always like tried getting like a lot of like Disney related things. No, Funko wasn't I didn't get the pops. That was a whole other thing.
I got a bunch of a guy asked if I collected the Disney pins. Jerry, like, I went to Disney World with my brother and we both got a crap ton, but I have no idea where they are now. That's it.
I know that's like really hard because for me it's like I've never stopped collecting like toys and things because my parents are really into that as well. So I was always going to like toy shows and stuff growing up. So that was always kind of like a consistent thing. I mean, I guess it's like a different category of toys, but definitely like getting like video games that I didn't have probably was one thing. Trying to think. That's like a lot harder than I thought because yeah, it's like hard to kind of know like because I've always been doing that.
Right, so there's nothing specifically you went out to grab right away that you didn't have from before.
Right.
I don't think so. I mean, really, like yeah. I mean, comics was always something, of course, like that I didn't have as much growing up. So then I went to do that. Trying to think of like recently. I mean, when I go to toy shows and things, I'll like look for certain like things out of box too or in box. If it was something that I had played with like when I was a kid and like the whole packaging, it was like, you know, I don't have it anymore. Sure. I'll try to like look for something that's like complete.
And you're obviously an out of box collector.
Well, yeah. It really depends. I mean, if like I'm not like it really depends. Like certain things like if the packaging is so cool and if I were to open it, one of my pet peeves is when I don't like having the ones that are attached with the board because once you open it, like it's done. Right. I prefer when it's like at least a box and then you can like take it out and it's up to you if you want to throw it out or keep it or whatever. Right. But at least you can put it back. With Funko Pops, I always look for like great quality with the boxes and I'm not opposed to having them out of the box, but it's easier to display and stack them and store them. So I prefer to keep them in box
right.
if I can.
And I keep the boxes. Like with my Conan 112 collector collection toy. Like the box is beautiful. The art's great. And
oh yeah. And that's the same thing with even like the designer toys is that they come in like these even just like the outer boxes and then the box that holds the actual toy and then like those, it's like value matters. Like you have to keep those kinds of things because like otherwise it's really devaluing it. So there's sometimes that we're like, okay, we have way too many boxes. We need to figure out what we don't need anymore.
Right.
Or what you're not going to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you guys find yourself selling a lot of what you have, or are you just mostly you collect to keep?
I would say my boyfriend definitely will sell me. I'm like, no. It depends, I guess. There was one point that he was like in the Funko game with me, and that he had a lot of like the higher valued ones. But then when he really got into collecting designer toys, he pretty much like cashed in all the Funkos to get like start investing. That's okay. I mean, for me, like we have some like local toy stores that we're able to sell to. So if I'm able to do that, that's nice. If it's something like when I was a kid that I don't need anymore, then I'll donate it. But otherwise, it's such a process to like if you really want to get a good value on something, you gotta like do your research and then like actually ship it out. And there's like a whole thing. So sometimes I'm like, it's not worth it.
It's like a lot of work. You know, but they have a lot of places, or I shouldn't say they have a lot of places. We have a lot of places around here that I noticed will buy your toys off of you. They're like little sub toy shops. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're never going to get a super great price, but if you're looking to just get rid of a bunch of stuff, they'll pay you several $100s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It really depends. Like, if you care about value or you just want to get off your hands.
See, my LCS wouldn't even dream of it. Neither one of them. But there's a toy store up in PA that my buddy goes to all the time to just get rid of some of his stuff that I'm like, you're never going to, you know what I mean? He's never going to, there's no need to have all of that. And so they gave him a decent price for a lot of his stuff, and I'm sure they'll resell it, make it more money. That's how the game works. But he got it cleared out. So I'm sure there are other places like that in Chicago.
Oh
that would buy
yeah,
it off of you.
definitely. I mean, some of it. Well, we've started implementing this rule that it's like if we can't display it, then we really shouldn't be getting it. I mean, we've broken that rule many times.
Sure.
But we've tried to do that at least with like the designer toys. I mean, at least for the designer toys, it's since there's a whole community that's pretty fair with pricing, and a lot of times, like my boyfriend will use like the Facebook marketplaces and stuff for selling.
Sure.
Plus that stuff is like you want to get the best price because like they are really high in value.
Now we need to talk about your Charmed obsession.
Okay.
When did you discover Charmed? Was it from the beginning? Did you discover it a couple seasons in? And what connects you so heavily to Charmed? And of course, I believe, if I remember correctly, Piper's your favorite.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
Let's not
I might have to remember what all those questions were.
Is Charmed related to Buffy?
No.
No.
But it was on the same network around the same
Yeah,
time.
just separate IPs.
Yeah. Okay, so when did I start watching it, right? I was probably way too young. So that was another one that I think my mom started watching it because it came out in 98. I was probably like 5. And yeah, she was watching it. And I think I was like creeping behind her and like, what are you watching? And she's like, she caved in, was like, okay, I'll let you watch it. But if you're scared, that like, don't blame me. But what really drew me to that was, or why I've always been like really into it, is just because I think one genre I always really love is just magic, witchcraft, things that have like family elements to them for sure. For Charmed, it was like very empowering to see like a lot of these really strong like women and they're like having like day-to-day lives, but then also like kicking ass and fighting evil, which was really fun.
Yeah, the power of 3.
Yeah, which after I'm done talking about this, I do have to show a prop that's related to Charmed.
Ooh, definitely.
Luckily, it's right down here, so I can grab it. But yeah. What was the other question?
Just so what connected you to Charm after you started watching it?
Yeah, so that was some of it was the genre. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked magical elements of it. I mean, I was pretty young, so I still kind of had that like I was still, since I was so young, like I was still in that imagination stage of like loving like I loved all their spells, and then like just seeing like their different powers was really cool. I liked all the different like demons they had. I don't know. It was just like had like a scary element to it, but then it was super like lighthearted and fun. Yes, I really love the music. That was actually another thing.
The Smiths, baby. Out of the 3, which one out of all their powers, which one would you have, Prue or the other 2? Piper or I couldn't think of the other one.
Yeah, definitely Piper's was always really cool to me. Yeah, my mom's saying she watched from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
She had active power, right?
Hers were really cool. Hers were really cool because she like in the first couple of seasons she just could like freeze time.
Right.
Which was really cool. But then as like they like mid series, she ended up being able to like blow things up, which was really helpful when they were battling things. But then they're all really cool because all like Prue's was that she could move things with her mind. Right. And I feel like that's just the most practical out of everything. Then Phoebe's was just cool, but I feel like I would want hers less because I don't know if I want to know things.
Right.
And then, there's a fourth sister. So she, which was played by Rose McGowan, and she could also move things in her mind, but in a different way. And then she could like teleport basically. Which was I'd also really like that. So I don't know, it's so hard because they're all so cool. But I thought Piper's was the coolest. I remember because I was so young and I was still like in the imagination stage. I was like like pretending to like freeze things. It was so silly. But yeah, it was just like the power.
But that's part of the magic of it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I'm like my brother. I mean, the opening music took me right away, but I just like the fact that they were a family trying to stay together during all this craziness, and
Yeah, I think that's always what their goal of the show was that they were sisters first and witches second.
right.
And I think that's what really made it so relatable. But
then they let that guy in, and he got her knocked up, and that was just horrible.
So one thing that as I got older that was really cool was that I was able to actually meet a bunch of them at conventions, which was one
Nice.
of like I usually will not spend money to meet a lot of celebrities, but they were on my list. I'm like, I have to meet these people because it's my favorite show of all time. Not saying it's the best show ever, but to me it is.
Right.
But yeah, I've met them at Wizard World a couple 2 years. 2 years. One was Holly Marie Combs, who's Piper, and Brian Krause, who's Leo, and it was just them two. And then the next year was it was them two and Drew Fuller, who's from season 6, and Billy Zane was even there, who was in he was in 3 episodes as a guest star. But yeah, let me show you this. This is really cool that I just have to. This was my holy grail for charms, so let me just grab it really fast.
Oh, no problem. So right now her boyfriend's watching with bated breath. He's waiting for that whole display to topple.
No way, man. He built a solid display. I'm sure of it.
Right?
That looks pretty good.
He's outside the room now, waiting to run in and start catching things.
Nah. It's all good.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So this was something I got the same year that I was actually able to meet them. This arrived in the mail because I really, really wanted this growing up. Maybe this is what my toy is that I didn't get growing up.
This might be a perfect example. What he was talking about earlier. I got money. I'm going to get that what I didn't get when I was a kid. Damn it, I'm going to get it now. Yeah, so nobody can stop me.
This is what I got.
The Book of Shadows.
Yes. So, this was Oh yeah, she is underage. I did see a little bit of picket fences. My mom introduced me to that as well. This was like my holy grail of things I wanted. I mean, they never licensed a Book of Shadows, which was a missed opportunity. But a lot of
I said, yeah, right.
Yeah, that seems incredible.
That's like having Evil Dead merchandise and not having a Necronomicon out there.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, that just makes no sense.
So I remember as a kid, I would type things out and oh yeah, I did share this on JD's channel. But I remember when I was a kid, I would type out the spells in Microsoft Word and then print them out on parchment paper.
Deep diving.
I had no. It was it wasn't even something that was attainable. So then when a couple of years ago, I saw that people mostly will make them from scratch. So I actually had to go get mine on Etsy. Which, if anybody's interested, I can always link, share where I got it from. But it was, I think she's from Europe, and she handmade everything.
Wow!
And as you can see, it's very thick.
Yeah.
It is pretty accurate. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, I would say. Let me try to open this without hurting myself. But
wow.
Etsy's an amazing place, you guys. If you want to see a lot of
she did a fabulous job overall.
The research she had to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people do it. I mean, unfortunately, it's something that you usually can't see what it's actually going to look like inside. But it's super cool. I'm trying to find I know I had some stuff bookmarked that were really. Where is my bookmark?
Christmas trees. Bobby Della Ghetto. Yo Chop.
Okay, so one of my favorites for sure is Demons on there was Balthazar, who's Julian McMahon. And they actually had the full spread in here that was in the show.
Wow.
So really cool. Yeah, a lot of these are, even some of them are actual art because a while back, which this was another thing I had, was they came out with a Charm magazine like years ago. I remember the first time I got it was in a Blockbuster.
Right on.
Wow.
Good times.
So-
man.
I forget how old some of these shows are, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think they were still
20 years, bro.
They were still on air when they had the magazine. Which also fun fact, I actually was featured in the magazine.
Ooh.
Now I know this is something I have to really share on my Instagram, but basically, because I've always loved art and things, they had like a part where you could like draw pictures and stuff. So because Balthazar was my favorite, I actually ended up drawing a picture of him, and they ended up featuring it in like their little like fan art section, which was really cool.
That is really
Nice.
cool. Congrats. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, so that one was really fun. Yeah, so this it's pretty thick. It has like even like blank pages in it, like as it would in the actual prop. Then when I went to like the conventions to meet some of these of the cast, like they actually have like signatures in the front, which is really cool because
That's a perfect thing to have them do in that too.
yeah, because
That's
there's
awesome.
some blank spaces. So
It looks
Yeah,
quite
it's
heavy
on-
too, Candace.
oh yeah, I'm trying not to like drop it. But it's, yeah, it's a really cool thing that if I'm able to keep continuing to meet the cast, like I'm gonna have them sign it all the time. But yeah, really cool, and they also get a kick out of like looking through it and like flipping. It's a nice like conversation starter while you're getting things like signed.
Gary,
But-
you know the guy that she's talking about, the guy that played Balthazar.
Doom.
Yeah, it's Dr. Doom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he was a good Doom. I just
I
you know,
hated his Doom.
I thought he was okay.
Yeah, anytime I'm watching Charm, because that's something that I watch like every single year now as like an annual rewatch. My boyfriend comes in the other room and he's like, "It's Dr. Doom." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
I used to
And-
do that with Buffy and Angel. I haven't watched it in a couple years. I got to rewatch Buffy and Angel again.
I've
She
still
started
never.
started season 4 of Buffy and go forward.
Yeah,
Skip all that high
season
school
4 is
stuff.
really good at Buffy. Buffy's another thing I definitely do love. Although I never watched Angel. That's on my list for sure.
Oh my gosh,
I
Angel!
know I have to watch it.
Angel was so good, like, and you didn't expect it because his part was so minimal on Buffy. Like, how are they going
Right.
to do this? And then it ended up being incredible.
Angel actually has a Muppet episode.
It
yes,
fits so
I did
well.
hear that because I've collected some of the comics for Angel, even though I never read or watched
Right.
it. Oh, thank you. But yeah, I remember seeing like they had some kind of puppet thing.
Right.
But yeah, I forgot what else. Was there any other questions about it? I don't
No,
remember.
no.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
impressed.
We're
That's
just
an
all
awesome book of
geeking out.
shadows.
That's all, Candace.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just,
Having our nerd moments.
right.
Yeah. One other thing for Charm that they've done recently, which has even made the fandom like of it better, is they actually Holly, Brian, and Drew started a podcast. That's anywhere you could listen to podcasts, and they started a Patreon so that you can actually get like the videos that they do on the podcast, and they've been doing a complete rewatch of the series because they haven't seen it in years.
Right.
And then they
What started that?
huh?
I said that all started with Zach Braff and Donald Faison doing their Scrubs podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They're the first ones
there's
to
so
do-
many that
Yeah, a
have
lot of
been
them do
doing
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was
Yeah,
just nerding out over Scrubs a second.
But yeah, it's like it's really fun because they've been doing it like every week, and then of course I had to become a Patreon member just so I could get like the videos of them doing that, and then they do like exclusive like Patreon things, and they're really interactive with their fans, which is really awesome. So that was just another thing that like made the whole thing a lot more fun for me, especially like being a fan for so long.
Right. And then when you meet them and when you get like you went to conventions and met them and when they're actually nice people, it just endears you to that property even more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are really special memories too.
Now, is there anything in nerddom today, whether it's comics or shows or anything that you connect to in that level now?
Trying to think of what's more recent. Cause like I'm someone that I like go so far back with all my stuff.
Because I know you did not like the new Charmed.
No.
Well, I was
We'll
going to
leave it-
say,
we'll leave it.
I didn't
I don't think
anybody did.
most people did. I mean,
Yeah.
even the cast was very against it that they made another one too. I mean, honestly, I mean, a lot of like Marvel stuff that's just because of they only had so many things like when I was growing up, and now it's like so like all the TV shows and everything has been
Right.
really fun way to connect with Marvel besides like the movies and everything. Trying to think, because yeah, a lot of stuff has been pretty consistent through my life, like Harry Potter, Disney, Archie. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like it's really hard to think of anything else because I feel like I'm very consistent.
Right.
Like nothing's been able to capture you like those old ones did. You were just the right age, the right time, everything gelled.
Or actually, now I think about it. Stranger Things was one that was for sure like both of us, me and my boyfriend, like we love that.
You love looking forward to that for sure.
That has been a really fun one. I mean, yeah, Netflix has brought so many good like new fandoms.
Right.
That and Disney, they've had a lot of new fandoms that I've enjoyed watching. I'm trying to think what other. I know there's like so many, but I'm like blinking right now. But yeah, just some of those for sure. A lot of the new like Star Wars things too. I feel like, just some of that stuff.
Right.
So now you've been dipping your toe into YouTube, you know, with Shy Comic Girl, with Justin's channel, No Good Comics. You've been on here almost a handful of times now. Is there going to be any allure for you to start your own channel at some point on YouTube?
I've definitely been thinking about it. I mean, okay, well, first of all, I've been trying to like get myself to be working on like a rebranding for myself for a while. Where I started like doing like a logo and renaming myself and everything. So that is my first step. I'm thinking I need to like get on that, but I've been like shuffling my feet on. And then the second part is I will probably be on YouTube more starting next year because me and Haley have a special project coming.
Ooh,
but I'm not
very
gonna say
nice.
anything until we announce it. So, so in a way, yes.
Now let's talk about that a second too. So you actually were lucky enough; you got to meet a best friend through this medium. Was that something you ever expected, or did it completely catch you by surprise? And just what a great benefit this has been, because we talk about it all the time, how the COVID bubble introduced us to all these people we never thought we would have in our lives. And now it's just our lives are better for knowing everyone, right?
Yeah.
So what was that like getting to know a new best friend through this medium?
Oh man. I know, but definitely what gives me in the feels. For real though. I mean, just before I get into everything with her, yeah, I mean, in general, like being in the comic community and doing all these YouTube things has been so special. And I like, not to be dramatic, but like very life-changing, and being able to connect with so many of you guys. Just because like I've some of my like most of my friends, like that's not the things that we have in common is like fandoms and stuff. I have maybe a couple that I like we're really into Disney or Harry Potter together, but and then my boyfriend likes a lot of these things too. But yeah, I didn't have anyone to like geek with all the time, especially like in my adult life.
Right.
And then even just as we get older, it's like even harder to just like ways to meet people besides like work or like through, you know, my boyfriend's friends or my, you know, things like that. So I never expected to be able to like just meet a bunch of people through this. Well, first of all, I didn't even know there was a community for like until like 2020, because I was in the the little bit of with my origin was kind of that I did, yeah, because as you've seen, I have like I do have a blog that's up. It's not as running as much anymore, but that was where I started. Was kind of posting about those things, and then finally I brought that into Instagram, and then I was like trying to find people that liked the same things that I did, and then whoever I was following must have just started like people started like shouting out other people in the community. They were doing like videos about the community, and I was like, wait, there's an actual community for this or comics. So then I ended up like following a bunch of people, and they ended up following me back, and I was like, whoa,
Right. Like, oh, people I can relate to.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like as longer and longer I was in there, I was starting to like meet people and talk, like DM with a lot of people and get to know people on a personal level and just nerd out with people about the things that I liked. It's still the coolest thing ever. So then with meeting Haley, it was I knew a lot of people online through the community, but not as many local. I like knew there's plenty of people in Chicago, which anyone if they are from Chicago, I'm always down to meet up too. Me and Haley would definitely love to do that. But for her, I actually found her through. Well, I followed her first like through Instagram, but then Justin actually had her on his comic book origins show, and I had watched her video that was with him, and I thought she was so cool because she was from Chicago and we had a lot of things in common, of just like background and like the kinds of things that we liked. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna hit this girl up and just say hi and be like, yeah, I just watched your show. If you ever want to just talk comics and things, I'm local, blah, blah, blah. And like super, super casual about it. And then she messages me and she's like, yeah, you want to go meet up and go get coffee? And I was like, really? You want to go and like actually meet in person? So I thought that was really cool. And then we ended up like meeting up and like we ended up going to get coffee and we went to like one of her comic shops that I had never been to, and that was so then we had like a slow start of just like chatting through Instagram and then meeting up a couple times, and then that was like, well, actually we just hit our 1 year of being friends.
Nice.
Nice.
Did you meet for a special coffee outing?
Kind of, yeah. We ended up going to like a Barnes and Noble and going to dinner and stuff. It was nice.
Right on.
We tried to just make it like really dramatic and making it into like a whole like friendiversary thing.
Nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, because that was I guess we're in 20. Yeah, so it was at the end of 2021 that we started like getting to know each other. So then probably like in this new year, then this is when like we finally got to really, really know each other. We did a lot of shows together. She always had me on her channel, and that was how I also got to meet a lot of people that she knew, because she would do like a comics and coffee kind of hangout, which was really fun.
And that's how I found out about you, was through Haley.
Yeah,
I found out about Haley through Caroline, and then we've all 6 degrees of Kevin Baconed it to find each other.
So I don't know. It just kept progressing and now like we honestly like we connect on such a deeper level than comics. Like we definitely like think of each other as like best friends. Which like I said, it's so hard to meet friends of that caliber as you get older. I mean, I have friends that I've been friends with like my whole life that are been my childhood best friends, but like it's meeting this new person and like connecting on a different level was really, really cool.
I've made really close friends, like certain people I talk to on the daily.
Right.
We talk all the time. Like
right.
Half the time it's not even about comics anymore. It's like about other personal things or just like and like we both have each other's back for like things that have been in our lives, and it's just really cool to like be able to like meet up and like now time like I'll be like tell my boyfriend I'm going to Haley's now. You don't have to worry about like waiting in the bookstore with me for like an hour because I have someone to like
go with, right? Sure.
So it's been like something like I think like we both feel like it's was really unexpected, and it's definitely really special to me.
Sure.
Nice. But that's why it's like the community is such a special place really to me, like meet everyone and especially like finding her was definitely the best part of it.
If only we could convince Miss So to come on an episode at some point.
Oh man, no doubt. Miss So, you got to come on.
I mean, you seem really freaking cool, Miss So. I'm just saying.
I love her Instagram posts too.
I want to see some of those.
Dude.
So see, now you got a new show coming up with your new bestie. You guys have celebrated a year, and You were talking about Barnes and Noble. It always makes me think because I don't even invite anyone to go with me when I go because I'm that nerd. When I go in there, I just want to look, and I'm going to look for a
Yeah,
while.
I don't want people
And
bothering me.
right, people are going to get mad if they go with me because they're going to be ready to go in 10 minutes. And I'm like, look, I got about 55, 60, 60, maybe 2 hours left.
Yeah, right.
I may not even buy anything, but I'm going to look at a bunch of stuff.
That used to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
that used to be like date night. I mean, when I first got married and we had no money and we were trying to just put money away for a house, that would be date night. Get some cheap burgers and then go to either Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, and Tower Records and tapes, and you could just listen to music for free and read for you just kind of like sat around and read stuff. That's what you do when you don't have no money. You can't buy it. You gotta just kind of make it like a library.
Yeah, it's just so fun. And then like like I was saying, like my boyfriend, he's such a champ. Anytime that we go, like he's like, oh, let's go to the comic shop because he knows like I love it, or the bookstore. But yeah, usually he's sad after like 20 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, let's go another hour.
Right.
For me, I felt like when I found this community, I felt like I found my tribe.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's like, you just get it, and so you don't have to explain yourself when you go to the LCS because they're probably feeling the same way.
Right.
And that's what's cool is that there's this weird nerd understanding. I like it.
Right, because even if I go to the comic shop, I'm not going in there to go there for 5 minutes.
No.
Right.
Even if I don't buy anything, and usually you do, but even if I don't have that intention, I'm looking. I don't care if I've looked at that bin 100 times. Yeah, especially with my LCS,
that's how you find the best stuff.
Exactly.
Persistence.
Yeah, it's all about the hunting and everything.
Yes.
And it's fun.
Yeah, you're right. It's not always about like the buying; it's about the actual experience that I think is so fun.
I get a rush. I get a literal adrenaline rush digging through like I love it.
And then when she wears herself out, they find her taking a nap in the corner.
Right.
All right, wake up, Caroline. We got to close.
I know. I'm like a little raccoon with my paws.
See, but you have an advantage over us, right? You're with a fellow collector, so you get to live your life with a fellow collector, whereas a lot of us don't get to do that, right? People don't understand the collecting or that part of your personality. So I mean, it's great that you and your boyfriend both collect. You have similar interests. You guys have all this together. I mean, that's something that you should celebrate in itself because that's not a common
100%.
thing.
Yeah, because I didn't realize how much we connected about that until because I remember I got him into a lot of things, but then once we started like living together and everything, we're like, okay, we're bringing in the designer toys. He has his own things that he collects. I have things I collect, and it's like we both like get it, which is really cool. So it's like there's less judgment for sure, and it's
right.
Like when you take a look at our space, it's just like it makes sense, and like I know we don't make each other like, oh, like you have to have like your one corner of the room and that's all you get. It's like
right.
It fits us very well, and we're both very like welcoming of each other's like interests and stuff.
Well, and that's cool because you find out when you collect stuff that people can be extremely judgmental, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's always people that have habits of their own, right? They can only validate what they like, but they can't put any validation on what someone else likes, which is always
been guilty of that.
Always weird to me.
Been guilty of that shit. So it's like I just know I've been guilty of it, and I try not to be, but sometimes I am.
Yeah, and like for me, I grew up with having parents that loved the same kinds of things. I mean, different stuff, but like I said, they're taking me to like toy shows and toy stores like all the time because those things that they like. Like my mom's like a Barbie collector. My dad's kind of miscellaneous with a lot of different things. So it was always very welcoming and with my childhood. And that's why I was able to like stick with that. So then it was really awesome. Like one, finding the community with people that were also accepting of that, but then finding a partner that also loved those kinds of things as well.
Right. It's amazing. Now, you mentioned your mom and Barbie.
Yes.
Did your mom and you both watch the new Barbie trailer together?
I didn't even think it came out yet.
I watched it earlier today.
Because I saw like the stills, but I thought for some reason it was going to be tomorrow. Okay, well then I'll have to tell her. Mom, if you're still watching, we gotta go watch it after the show.
That's who's in that? That's Margot
Robbie is Barbie.
Sounds
Yeah,
about right.
yeah.
I mean, they just went and got some okay-looking woman to play the America's Doll, whatever. Oh
Lord.
right. She had on a side note, it was a hilarious interview because Jim Carrey and Margot Robbie were on. There's this great British interview show which I love, and damn, I can't think of the name now, but the guy's great. And Margot Robbie had won an Oscar. She was doing well, and Jim Carrey looked at her and goes, "Yeah, I've been following you. It's amazing how far you've gotten on Pure Town alone, looking as bad as you look, and just like."
Is it Graham Norton? Is it Graham Norton?
Graham Norton. I love that guy's show because they swear they drink everything on that. There's no, there's no regulations on that show.
Fun.
But such a fun show, and the way they pick on each other was great. But Miss So said it exactly. It looks silly but charming, and it has like this kind of like epic. It's only a teaser, but it's a fun teaser. So you and your mom definitely got to watch it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for it because like the closest thing I ever had to that was I don't know if anyone remembers this, but Life Size with Tyra Banks and Lindsay Lohan. That was something that was in the 90s. They don't even have it on Disney Plus, I don't think. Yeah, but it was like a Wonderful World of Disney movie, and that was the closest thing I ever got to seeing like a Barbie movie because it was basically a doll come to life, and they showed a lot of like Barbies that weren't actually Barbies, but I remember that was a really cool thing because around that time was when I was in the Barbie playing age, so that was the closest.
Is that a movie that you go see with your mom together?
Oh yeah, I know we haven't even planned that, but we should. We definitely should.
What's up, Scotty?
Oh, your mom saw the trailer.
She watched it without me. No, I'm kidding.
Uh-oh.
I honestly didn't even realize that it was out.
Right.
All right, so let's ask her mom real quick. Pat, did you like the trailer? So we'll watch the chat and see if she enjoyed it.
Yeah, tell your honest thoughts.
Yeah. See, now all you need is a Charm movie with the original cast.
Wait, what was that?
I said all you need is a Charm movie now with the original cast.
I know they've been. Well, a lot of people like the fans want that in general, and then that's why they end up doing the podcast. They're like, we.
I mean, would Shannon Doherty even do it?
Sorry,
I said, would Shannon Doherty even do it?
Well, they could have Rose McGowan do it because Shannon Doherty wasn't in it at the end.
Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, I had no problem with her.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think that was why they ended up doing the podcast. They said like we're probably not going to end up doing like any kind of movie, but we want to give back to the fans, so that's why those three end up doing that, and they like bring on other people that are from the cast onto interview as well. So it's really cool.
Ryan Gosling as Ken. That's good casting.
Yeah, that I thought was pretty good. Perfect.
Oh, and Miss So has a question for you, Candace. She wants to know if you and your mom have checked out Wednesday yet.
My mom hasn't checked it out, which I've been telling her to, but no, I did. Me and my boyfriend, we watched it and binged through it pretty quickly. It was very good. And
Jenna Ortega looks great as Wednesday.
Oh, she was perfect. Yeah, I definitely watched some of the movies in the show like back in the day. Not anytime like recently, but the new one was, it was fantastic. And I loved seeing a lot of the nods to the older show, especially with like the snaps and the little like nods that only people that would have be familiar would catch. Right. And actually when I was in, I think maybe middle school or maybe a little younger, I actually did dress up as, she wasn't impressed. Ooh, and that's a Barbie collector telling you.
Wow.
Well, that's sad. But yeah, I'll have to check it out after. But when I was younger, I actually dressed up as Wednesday for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a classic song too. Classic.
It's still recognizable as soon as it comes on.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom had actually like made me the the costume and everything, because I don't think I actually bought a dress. Like, she actually made it. I sprayed. Well, my hair was not this dark. I think it was a little lighter, so like I sprayed it really dark and everything.
Did you do the dance?
I mean, back then they didn't really have that. So.
She didn't have a dance, right?
Didn't have a dance back then.
She kind of walked around just brooding, just
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's a really fun show. I think a lot of people would like it, even if you haven't even watched like other ones. It was really well done. I thought. I'm hoping there's a season 2.
Now we've been going an hour 15, so we'll start wrapping up. So I'm gonna ask my final question first, and then I'll throw it to them in case they have something. But is there any teaser that you can give us about the show that you and Haley are gonna do together?
I mean, not really. It's just that it makes a lot of sense. It's not going to be like, it's just finally making something really official, and just like, it's like nothing that different than what we haven't done, but just kind of.
Well, like interview show, review
just
show.
Tell them none of your damn business. That's what you need to say.
I'm trying to get this out in the public so people are going to tune in and watch it.
Candice, don't let him pressure you. Just say, you got to wait, sucker.
I really don't want to.
This is the hot seat, Candice.
I mean, it's like, no, I don't think anybody would be surprised, basically, at this point of just like, of us finally having a project, basically. But hopefully at the beginning of the new year, we'll get going with that. Right. It's really just an excuse to like hang out more.
That's nothing wrong with that.
And talk about the things that we love. We'll just say that.
I love hanging out with Jim, even though he bullies me on the live streams.
Yes, that's right. I'm so mean.
That's all right. I got my corner eye rock in when we're done. Oh, goodness. Jim, you have a question, sir?
I don't have a question. I'm going to circle back to one thing talking about at the beginning of the show, you were talking about all the different subscriptions and stuff, which led me to something Gary and I were talking about before you came on, was mystery boxes. You know, people don't do a lot of mystery boxes as much anymore because times have changed. COVID is kind of behind us. They'll be able to get out. They want to go and buy their own stuff. Mystery boxes were good when everybody was shut down. That said, I bought a lot of mystery boxes, and some things were hits, some things were misses. But I have a lot of books here that don't interest me, but just flipping through your Instagram, because I told you I didn't really know you. I said, let me see if these are ones you'd be interested in. And if so, you DM me on Instagram your address, and I'll send them to you because I don't want them.
Oh my God!
But you might want them. This is Angel something. You know, it's an Angel comic. You haven't seen Angel. Maybe there's something in the comic you
definitely
might
don't have that one.
This is Buffy #1 of whatever volume. It's not going to stay in my collection. So if you don't get it, somebody else is. Here, this one is Life of Archie. I don't see Archie anywhere, but that's what it says, Life of Archie.
I know that series.
It's number 36. It's a variant cover.
I'd have to check my collection for that one.
Looks like Archie might be dead.
Is it Afterlife with Archie?
No,
it says Life with Archie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Star Wars, High Republic. I don't do Star Wars.
That's cool.
Your fries
Fables.
Are done,
Fables. I don't.
I
know
love
anything.
Fables too.
All right, that can be in there. And then
oh my God.
Magic the Gathering, some Magic the Gathering book that came in one, and I just
I mean, I'd always be open for that. Maybe I've never played that or anything.
Yeah, the rest of these,
my God.
I don't know. You know, I don't even know what this frog guy is. Futuristic
I don't know what
Tales.
that is either.
These are all
I'm
books
intrigued.
that,
Oh my God. Yeah.
They don't interest me, but if you're interested in them,
I'm definitely interested. Thank you so much. We'll DM and talk about it.
and you can have them because
Oh my
I said,
God,
you know what,
thank you.
she'll at least like the Archie and the Buffy. I saw you post some Buffy stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I love those too. My God.
There you go.
thank
That's it. No question. Just giving away stuff
Oh
I don't
God,
want in my
thank you so
collection.
much.
And Caroline?
So, just to like wrap it up in a couple of sentences, how have comics enriched your life?
Man, I don't know how to put that in a couple of sentences. But
As many as you need.
yeah. So first, yeah, the first part, of course, is just I've always loved reading, and comics was a great way to merge art and reading for me. It was a great way to find comics on things that I loved with different fandoms. That's always been the really coolest part. Um, it's been really fun collecting it for the art, also like the variant covers and things like that. Um, I love being able to go to conventions, to go hunting for comics. Of course, like the comic community is the number one thing that is definitely. If I was telling my mom, I was like, if you haven't given me Archie, I wouldn't be even in this comic community.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's a really deep one there. But so yeah, it's just really cool being able to having like my love of reading connect to just so many things of art and fandoms and people in a community, and sure, like just something to talk about with people. A way to I've been able to meet creators of all these comics too, and meet the people that that I like look up to, especially because like as being a creative, like I'm super visual in general, so like reading comics, of course, is like it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
It's just such a fun way to read, and I like so many people like don't read comics, and it's just such a shame because
it's good literature.
It's so good. Like I tell people that I'm really open with people about just like that in my community, and I like what I do. Oh, sorry, it's getting a little. Okay, siren is coming through.
Coming for you, Candace.
Yeah, so it's like that's what I think is just a shame. Like people, like a lot of times, people even don't even want to read comics. They're like, "Oh, it's like superheroes, right?" I'm like, "No, there's." I think that's also what I like about comics is there really is comic for everyone.
Sure.
And even if like I've heard from a lot of people also that who don't even like reading that much, that comics was one way for them to. Oh, thank you. There was one way for them to even get into reading, and I think that's really cool because in general, I'm such an advocate for just people just reading and loving that. And I think any way that you can start reading or connect with people through reading, like that's just amazing. Yep. So yeah, I think just, whatever got me to like where I am now in this community, it's really cool that was just because I love reading comics. So
I'd like to shout out to Pat Barbosa for passing on the Archie to the little one.
Thank you, Mom.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Good and I think that's something for sure that I, God willing, I have a kid that wants to read comics, and I'll pass that on to them as well because it's so fun.
There you go.
People need we all need something to connect to. And especially in comics, there's something that anyone can connect to.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why it's like I try to tell people like it's not just superheroes. Like you can literally find anything that you're interested in, or there's independent comics. Like there's so many different things. Like it's a whole spectrum of stuff. Like you can find like whatever will resonate with you, definitely, which is really cool.
It's for everyone.
Exactly.
All right, very nice. Well, first, Jim, what's coming up on your channel, sir?
I have a package here from some wins that I had from DJ Links that I'm probably going to film and throw up on there with some video and another piece that I have put together. If I can splice it together, that'll drop next week. I'm going to be down in Virginia seeing my brother and fam, so I'm hoping that him and I can do a little live together or something, because I'm giving him some dope slabs for Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll show you when we end.
And Caroline, what's coming up for you?
I don't know, man. Just whatever I want. It's the first day of my Christmas vacation. Ooh. I'm so tired, and I'm just gonna not think for a little bit.
That sounds great.
Yeah, right. That's always nice.
No commitments, but my mom, I'll be around.
Right? She pops up everywhere.
I do, man.
She's an internet genie.
That's a perfect exact yes.
She said yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, coming up for me, we of course have Savage Saturday Comic Review coming out tomorrow. Next Tuesday on the 1011, we have Angel, Remy's wife, on the show, showing her books. So we
Angel's
will have
awesome, dude.
Angel cue herself up. So that ought to be a
Wow.
fun episode.
Yeah.
And if you guys did not check out the episode with Roscoe earlier in the week, that was nothing but fun beginning to end, much like this episode. So I want to thank my co-hosts for coming on. Thank you guys. I appreciate you both being on this evening. I want to thank the awesome chat. We had great numbers for the live show tonight. People just were fantastic in the chat. Thank you for coming out to support Candice and the show. And Candice, the biggest thanks, of course, there's no show without the guests. Thank you so much for coming on my channel again. I really appreciate the time you spend here. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Such a fun time.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad it's not a glutton for punishment thing.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, and until next time, guys, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.